This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening, I'm Devin Feely. Juliette has the night off. For the second time this year, computer issues shut down the entire BART system, throwing the morning commute into chaos for people all across the Bay Area. Everything was back up and running again just before noon, but here's what we saw this morning. Stranded commuters at BART stations and a traffic nightmare on the Bay Bridge, especially compared to an average Friday. We have team coverage of the system meltdown, from the impact to the long-term implications for the BART system. So let's get started with Dahl Lynn live in Walnut Creek with more on what went wrong in the first place. Dahl?
Yeah, Devin, the IT guys fixed the computer problems and trains are running smoothly now. Friday night light, but things are going well so far. This morning, though, very different story. A lot of upset passengers because they were running late to work. Signs posted, gates blocked, and workers telling passengers no service. That was the scene at every BART station on Friday morning.
It's unacceptable.
Frustrating?
Definitely, to say the least, especially with kids, having to now take the ferry.
Manny is taking 5 kids from the East Bay to San Francisco for a birthday celebration. They're late, and rideshare isn't an option. No car seats, at least not for 5 kids.
We're gonna walk to the ferry terminal with the kids, which, it's not the most exciting thing.
A 1-mile walk to the ferry terminal with toddlers. Not exactly fun. Most commuters we talked with said they were late to work. Some worried they wouldn't make their flight out of SFO.
Might have to go the expensive route, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to see. Maybe I'll call the airline and see if they can, change my flight.
This is the second system-wide shutdown since May. Back then, a power outage triggered computer failures. This time, a routine overnight network upgrade crashed the system.
It's very frustrating also for BART. We know people rely on us and we're very, very sorry.
BART officials say they can't always wait until a weekend to do these upgrades.
What was happening last night was a really important upgrade project that happens many nights of the week, and just something went wrong. And it's one of those critical pieces that we have to update it in order to keep our system safe and running.
The shutdown did bring some strangers together. This man offered to share his Uber with grandmothers who spoke limited English. And these 4 women split a ride share from Walnut Creek to San Francisco.
I requested an Uber and it was like $70 for the Uber, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Others jammed onto ferries.
The ferry was extremely busy today. I'd say it's probably like twice as packed as it usually is on a Friday.
For Manny and the kids, their first ever ferry ride turned into an adventure.
If we can have driverless cars, we can figure out how to get BART running all the time.
Yeah, let's hope the kids had a great birthday celebration today. By the way, the San Francisco Bay Ferry System reports the ridership before noon went up by 60% compared to a typical Friday. That's about 2,000 extra passengers from 6 a.m. to noon. Devin?
All right, thank you, John. Live from Walnut Creek. Now, this all comes at a time when BART is struggling to make ends meet, and some advocates are worried that today's meltdown could erode voter support for a lifeline for BART. Kenny Choi joins us live from outside the Embarcadero station in San Francisco with the long-term concerns.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of concern, Devin, and a lot of riders today expressing that frustration, as you heard, across the Bay Area. They're also concerned about the reliability of an aging transportation system. And this is all happening as a major legislative effort is underway to provide more funding for public transportation agencies, including BART.
Paul Sauer takes BART regularly for work. He relies on public transportation to come into San Francisco.
It needs to be reliable for everybody in the Bay Area. I already have concerns with public transit in the Bay Area. I think we could be doing a lot better. And the fact that one of our biggest systems is constantly failing, I think is a big issue.
The Oakland native is concerned about service reliability, recurring shutdowns, and other issues on BART. Friday's closure marks the second major system-wide shutdown in 4 months following a power outage in May. Last week, brake smoke on a train forced a temporary closure in the Transbay Tube, leading to delays and a chaotic situation for commuters.
Anytime anybody brings up any concerns with it, BART doesn't really seem to have any answers. It's just kind of like, well, that's just how it is.
Transit agencies like BART are asking for more funding. State Senator Scott Wiener introduced legislation, SB 63, that would authorize a regional sales tax on the 2026 ballot to raise more than $500 million annually for BART, Muni, Caltrain, and AC Transit.
These systems matter so much to the Bay Area's economy, to our quality of life, to our ability to get around, and we have to support them. And if we do nothing in terms of funding, BART is going to collapse. Muni and AC Transit and Caltrain will slash service, and that would be horrible for our region.
But former State Senator Steve Glazer, who's been critical of BART, points to pay raises for executives and increasing staffing levels. He isn't convinced more funding will lead to better service and reliability.
And the system breakdown today only exacerbates that concern. I mean, that system breakdown that happened today was the second one this year. And it's happening at a time when BART is fully funded. So there's no excuses.
As commuters navigate the challenges of major disruptions, riders like Sauer are desperate for solutions.
I personally don't have a problem with paying more taxes if it means BART is running smoothly and more often. I want it to succeed so much. I want it to expand. I want it to grow.
Now, BART simply says that relying on revenue from passenger fares simply doesn't work anymore. And they're also relying on some drastic service cuts if that funding doesn't come through. BART warning that service could be cut between 65 to 85% if that funding issue isn't resolved. They also say that emergency funding that's been essentially funding the ridership these days will run out. That emergency funding will run out in 2026.
All right, Kenny, thank you very much. Across San Francisco, city leaders today celebrated the grand opening of an affordable housing project that was built specifically for SF Unified School District teachers and employees and their families. That long-awaited development is the first of its kind in the city. And just to move in, employees had to win a lottery. Kara St. Cyr introduces us to some of the building's first residents.
Living in the city was always a dream for Jack Hobbs and his wife Victoria. But as a law student married to a teacher, finding affordable housing seemed impossible.
We were well over half our income was going into rent every month, and we only had a few $100s left over.
But this spring, an opportunity arose for educators like Jack's wife. A chance to live here at the Shirley Chisholm Village in the Outer Sunset.
This is the first time we've ever been the first tenants in a new unit, and so you know that the washer, dryer, garbage disposal, everything works. The lights flick on.
This 135-unit complex is the city's first ever educator housing development. Teachers and supporting staff in SFUSD get first dibs on 100% affordable rooms. But they had to be lucky enough to be chosen in a lottery system. The district says more than 1,200 people applied.
We put ourselves in the lottery right away.
Mayor Daniel Lurie spoke at the ribbon cutting, calling the build a milestone in the city's efforts to build more affordable housing.
This building stands as a symbol of a city that is welcoming working families.
Being more welcoming to working families is also important for the school district. San Francisco Unified has struggled with teacher shortages. A 2023 report from SFUSD showed that the starting salary for teachers was $50,000 a year, about 40% less than HUD's definition of low-income families in the region.
You guys love it. Thank you.
That's why Eric McAvoy, an SFUSD teacher, says this apartment means so much.
Everybody that I've talked to that's now here, I think really appreciates the space.
But for Jack, the affordable housing means finally getting to enjoy the city he loves.
It's a difference of a few $100s every month, but that few $100s means that I can get new things for my dog. I can go to a restaurant with my wife. I can, take a night in a hotel once a month and we can go somewhere. Like it frees us up to have a little bit of, it lets us live normally.
The housing project was 10 years in the making, built on a site that was previously used for district storage. While some affordable housing projects for educators stalled during the pandemic, a few are moving forward. The school district has a goal of creating 550 homes for teachers by the year 2030. In Cupertino, a ruptured water main left several homes in a cul-de-sac flooded. Our chopper was over the scene where you can see the mud and water that was left behind. A total of 5 homes were flooded to one degree or another. So that includes 3 with standing water throughout. The residents of one of those homes had to evacuate. Meanwhile, 18 homes had their water service cut off. Crews expect the cleanup and restoration efforts to continue until about 9 o'clock tonight. We did talk to Joe, a neighbor who saw what happened.
I just came out to my balcony this morning and just looked around to my left and just saw the whole street was flooded. And I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? There was water like gushing out the ground like a geyser.
Once water service is restored, residents will still be under a boil water notice for at least the next 2 days, and the testing comes back clean. Still ahead here at 6, it doesn't take a BART shutdown to turn Highway 37 into a slog. How state lawmakers just fast-tracked the plans to expand it. Plus, the Valkyries just clinched a playoff spot after a season of sellouts at Chase Center, but now they're going to have to make their postseason debut in San Jose.
I think that it's really going to bring a lot of different people from different places.
And later, bringing balance to the force and also hopefully their checkbook. A look at the historic auction for one of the most famous props in all of movie history. Thirteen people are out of their homes tonight after a large fire tore through an apartment complex in San Jose. The flames are shooting out of the roof of this 2-story complex. It's located on DeLand Avenue. The fire broke out just after 3 o'clock this afternoon. This neighborhood is right where Southwest Expressway runs into I-280. The fire department says that 10 units were impacted. 4 units had the heaviest damage. Firefighters say that one person was pulled from a unit, but nobody was hurt. No word on how that fire first started. The battle continues against the lightning-spark wildfires in the Sierra foothills. Crews were able to keep them from spreading overnight. Cal Fire says the containment is now at 22%. The fires have destroyed at least 85 homes and other buildings, both residential and commercial, and damaged 6 others. 1 firefighter has been injured. Besides fighting the active fire, crews are also on alert for any areas that might reignite. California lawmakers passed a bill that would fast-track the expansion of Highway 37 in the North Bay. The highway runs between Novato and Vallejo's Mare Island. It is a 1-lane stretch in each direction, famous for snarling traffic even during non-peak hours. Caltrans plans to add a carpool lane on both sides. But the construction was delayed because of environmental protections for 4 animal species that live in the adjacent salt marshes. If they followed the current laws, crews could not only work for 3 months out of the year. The newly passed bill waives some of those rules. Governor Newsom has until October 12th to sign the bill. And now to some basketball history at Valhalla. Last night, the Golden State Valkyries staged a late comeback to beat the Dallas Wings and become the first expansion team ever to clinch a spot in the WNBA playoffs. Rookie Janelle Salon summed up the feeling pretty well in her post-game interview with Matt Lively.
What's it mean to etch your team's name in history?
Let's go!
This team trailed by 13 in this game. How did you...
Golden State sold out all 22 of its home games during the regular season and led the league in attendance, so you can imagine the fans are ready for a playoff game on September 16th or 17th. There's only one problem. Chase Center is already booked for a tennis tournament that week, so that means that Golden State's first ever playoff game is going to be about 50 miles down the road at the SAP Center in downtown San Jose. That tennis tournament was booked in 2023 before the Bay Area was awarded a WNBA franchise. Oakland Arena is also booked, and while fans on social media were not happy about the move, the Valkyries fans in the South Bay say that they are excited to bring the energy and show off San Jose to the rest of the WNBA.
We've got a great little downtown here, just a walk away from SAP Center, and looking forward to people experiencing it. Go Valkyrie.
The Valkyries sent out a statement explaining the conflict and asking fans to, quote, take Valhalla to the South Bay and show the league that our home court advantage travels with our community. In the meantime, there are still some regular season games that are left. Tomorrow night, the Valkyries host the league-leading Minnesota Lynx, and you can watch it on our sister station, PIX Plus. Pre-game coverage starts at 5 p.m.
We have reached the end of the work week, but we have not reached the end of this cool weather pattern. A nice view towards the Golden Gate with the fog starting to reorganize itself. Temperatures today, only a 16-degree difference between Half Moon Bay and Concord. We're usually about double that spread this time of year. The cool weather will continue this weekend. Tracking that, even a chance of a shower next week. Coming up in First Alert Weather.
And we're joined now by Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan. We're heading into the weekend and things are even average, maybe a little bit cooler than average in some spots.
The time of year when we don't mind a little departure from normal temperatures on the short side, because it means, hey, a little early taste of autumn. We are not done with summer yet. Towards the tail end of the extended forecast, we are in for a warm-up.
I don't mind if it gets cooler. I just want the days to stay long.
I know. That's not happening, though. We're about 17 days, 16, 17 days away from the autumnal equinox, so savor that daylight while you can get it. Let's take a look outside right now. We're looking from Salesforce Tower towards the Golden Gate and seeing that fog trying to reorganize itself, in English, a little bit. Overnight cloud cover and fog is going to spread back out across the region. It's going to be another cool, breezy weekend, cool relative to this time of year. The inland temperatures are still going to be warm, just short of what's average for early September. There's going to be occasionally hazy skies as some of the smoke from wildfires burning across the state tries to make its way towards us. Ground level air quality should remain fine. There's even a chance of showers in the forecast next week. It's not much of a chance, but we'll take what we can get. Let's switch perspectives and look outside from the Mark Hopkins Hotel, and you can see more of that fog starting to shroud Sutro Tower. Temperatures 60s and 70s across the board. Only a 13-degree difference between 64 in San Francisco and 77, the warm spots in Santa Rosa and in Concord. Will mostly end up in the 50s by early tomorrow morning. Let's take a look at the fire information, the latest statistics on the various fires burning around the state. Of course, we have the TCU complex fires that were sparked earlier in the week. The largest of those is what's called the 6.5 fire. So that really is kind of edging away at the containment levels for the TCU complex as a whole. That 6.5 fire is only 10% contained at this point. They're going to try to boost those containment levels as we head through the next several days. But as we head through the rest of tonight, we are going to track the onshore breeze continuing and keeping the smoke produced by those fires pushed away from the Bay Area. Every once in a while, a little bit of it from the fires up north is going to try to sneak out over the Pacific and make kind of an end run into the Bay Area. But you see the bulk of the surface level smoke is going to be staying away from us as we head through the upcoming weekend. Let's track the fog as we head through the rest of tonight and early tomorrow. That is going to become widespread once again, a good push across the Bay and into the inland valleys. Some of it even making its way through the Delta into the Central Valley by early tomorrow morning. Once the sun comes up, it doesn't take long for it to dissipate. Even a little bit of clearing right along the coast as we head towards lunchtime tomorrow. So we'll see a mix of clouds and sunshine for coastal parts of the Bay Area over the weekend. Temperatures are still going to be a little bit on the cool side, and highs are going to be a mix of 70s and 80s for inland parts of the Bay Area. Just 76 degrees in San Jose, up to around 80 in Los Gatos, and 84 in Morgan Hill. That's going to be tied for the warm spot across the entire region, along with Antioch and Brentwood. Same temperature around Fairfield, but low to mid 80s east of the Oakland Hills in late summer. We'll take it. Mostly 70s around the Bay, even hitting 70 in San Francisco with 60s at the coast and a lot of 70s for the North Bay. You have to go pretty far inland up to around Healdsburg to find another 84-degree reading. One of the few spots that's going to be tied for the warmest temperature on the map by tomorrow afternoon. But if we look at the long enough time frame, the 10-day temperature outlook for Santa Rosa does show a warm up just beyond the scope of the 7-day forecast. The coolest days, Monday and Tuesday, do correspond to a passing storm system that, while it's going to send most of its moisture to our north, there is a chance of showers headed our way. About a 30% chance, mainly for the North Bay by Tuesday into Tuesday night, something we'll continue to monitor as we head through the next several days. It's too early to get your hopes up for a good soaking rain, but even a few drops on the windshield would be kind of nice to see, or just get that smell of rain in the air. Temperatures do warm up at the tail end of the 7-day forecast. That's when inland temperatures are going to approach 90 degrees, but we have to wait a full week for that to happen. And late summer, again, we'll take the cool of the normal temperatures while we can. Temperatures around the Bay don't change a whole lot. Morning fog giving way to afternoon sunshine. And temperatures at the coast aren't going to change much either, but you are going to see a little more sunshine over the weekend before the fog returns early next week. And you have, again, one of the better chances of seeing a few of those light rain showers Tuesday into Tuesday night. Showers are still showers. We'll take it.
You know, I always like to have the nice weather for the weekend, and it seems like you're delivering on that.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it when it works out that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. When we come back, the force was strong with one lucky and very wealthy bidder. We'll tell you how much they paid to win Darth Vader's lightsaber. Plus, here's a look at what's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
I'm Steve Hartman. However you plan to spend your retirement, I'm guessing it's not like this. Meet the college senior tuba player when we go on the road to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, coming up on the CBS Evening News.
Now you can get your KPIX news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today.
Welcome back. Music's biggest stars are getting ready for this Sunday's MTV Video Music Awards, and for the first time ever, that show is going to air live on CBS. LL Cool J is hosting the evening. It all starts at 5 p.m. Sunday on KPIX and streaming on Paramount+. And it's a piece of movie history, the lightsaber that Darth Vader used to fight Luke Skywalker in the original Star Wars trilogy. Now, one lucky fan was able to buy it for $3.6 million. It was sold by the auction site Prop Store. It says it was thoroughly vetted for authenticity.
This is one that found us, and this was literally a cold call on a Friday afternoon. A gentleman called in and said, I have a lightsaber. We were able to work out not only which character used it, but exactly how it's used. And you can see the small steel post that comes out of the top of it here. That's how they actually mounted the blade on it.
The lightsaber was just one of more than 1,000 iconic Hollywood costumes and props that went on the block, including items from the Batman and the Indiana Jones films. The CBS Evening News is next on KPIX. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're going to be back here in 30 minutes with CBS News Bay Area at 7.